I'm certainly happy with an article. So that's cool. And I got to see you guys in person. Thank you so much for paying for the trip. And I got to network. Maybe Chris. Hang on a second. Some of you guys and some of my colleagues didn't believe me when I said I got their business cards. I got the business cards, and they would love to work with Card Hoarder. Christine, if you guys don't know her, she's a cosplayer. RK Post said he'd love to get his tokens out through us, Card Hoarder. And I also got Jason Engel's business card, which is actually a really nice card. Yeah, so I did a lot at the GP. Networking. Trey Van Cleve says maybe he'll join up with Card Hoarder. So I did a lot at the GP. I did a lot. So it was a good time. Day 2ing was just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of work that I did at the GP. Yeah, RK Post is a really cool guy. He made me some really cool tokens. Hang on, I'll show them to you guys real quick. The bird tokens. Where did I put those? He gave me some really cool tokens. I hope I didn't lose them. Wait, this is a max. Alright, they're gonna be right here. So, I got the bird tokens from RK. Nope, that is not my bird tokens. I probably put them somewhere. Is this it? Yeah. So I had a bunch of different bird tokens that I used at the GP and I kind of swapped before. I actually wanted to bring these to the GP. These are the Pelican ones. These are by Aaron Miller. Not that we're going to support him necessarily unless he wants us to. These are pretty cool. They're really nice. He actually signed them too when he sent them in the mail. So these are 1/1 birds. You can go with the classic. These are like the Return to Ravnica bird tokens. That's an option if you want to play Bird Braincestral. The RK Post ones are really cool. These are penguins. These are the RK Post ones. You can get an Alter Nahiri. Nice. Something else we could try, although I'm not a huge fan. Let's see, what else could we try? We can try a couple different things until the boom bust doesn't work, though, if I really want to keep jamming this strategy or something similar to it. If I just am possessed to play it, what could we replace those 2 slots with? We lose the mass land destruction. Is there a different way to do it? I also shouldn't be playing this because it also was intended to work with Brain. At the GP I was using it with a Brain, but it doesn't work here. None of the split cards do. The fuse spells do. That's the weird part about this whole thing. And why like it's so peculiar, the programming. The fuse spells work perfectly fine with Brain, but the split cards aren't. And that's kind of where it's a little weird to me. Ziv says, is it just that Brain... Could Dark Dwellers fuse back call? No, it can't. What about some turn burns? I wouldn't run turn burn. I would go greedy. I would like splash a watery grave and run like the other one. The oh god, what is it? Or we could run that other one that I really don't like, but it's hilarious actually against things potentially like Tron. The you can't tutor for it though, but there was another split card in the Jeskai colors we looked into. It's because Wizards hates fun. No, I don't think that's the case. I think it's, okay, what was it? It was another fuse spell. I don't know if I have any copies. Maybe it went up. Probably not. Dragon's Maze. Catch Release. I might have some. Catch Release. Catch and Release. I bet I have some. So Catch and Release. We're good. Catch and Release was another spell we talked about. The problem with Catch Release is... it's without the Brain. I mean, the same could be said about Beck Call. Without the Brain in a jar, the Beck Call does very little. The problem with Catch Release is you can't tutor for it with the Muddle. So that's one knock to it. The second knock is you... let's see, we'll sacrifice an artifact, so there goes the Brain. But it is, I mean, it is powerful. It's something to follow up the Beck Call with, like because it's CMC3. That excites me. Because we can follow this play up with this play. That excites me, I guess. I mean, a lot of people said I was supposed to maybe consider main decking one of the 2 Angers. We could try that configuration. And then we could try to jam the Crumbles. Gregory Grana says, hey, Brew, it was great talking with you at the GP. It was, Greg. How's it going, friend? I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Brad Soup. That's what I was talking about. Far away for a watery grave, yeah. But this is something we could test. It's not nearly as strong as what I took to the GP because the boom bust is just a better way to handle lands. But we could try this. And then I could do the whole anemic crumble thing out of the board. How do I feel about turn burn? I don't like it, Kevin. I don't. I'm not a fan. That's how I feel. Belgium says, can Bring to Light fuse? Not that I'm aware of. Sylph wants to know how often was I casting split cards naturally when I didn't have brain. I cast the call side of bet call a couple times during the GP actually, and it was fine. Here's something you need to understand. Like, let me pull everything away for a moment. Or let's just pull these over to the side and talk about it. Here's something you guys need to understand. The call side of Beck, worst case scenario, is a slightly overcosted Lingering Souls. But when it's fused, it's not only an instant speed Lingering Souls, it draws you 4 more cards. Instant speed. Does that sound really that bad to run in a Jeskai deck? Like, if you think about it from that perspective, hang on a second, let me show you a couple cards. Just so you can understand my understanding of the deck and how it played out at the GP. I think I own these cards. I own the opportunity just to talk about this. Alright. Okay, so you could run this, or you could run this. You could run this, or you could run this. The cool thing about this, if there's ways to tutor for both pieces that exist in Modern, or you could run this. So in order to get this, hang on, just hear me out. In order to get this, how much mana did you spend? You spent 5 for the Lingering Souls component, and you spent 6 for the Opportunity component. This was 4 colorless mana. If you include the Muddle, yes, it bumps it up to 7. Blue colorless for the transmute. Yeah, and that's more expensive, but you can pay it out over the course of a couple turns. Something that was nice was as I was like countering and burning things, you might have a turn where you have a couple unused mana. No, it's not. That's where you sneak in the brain. You may have another turn where you have a couple more unused mana. Maybe that's where you sneak in the transmutation of the Muddle. Like, because it's broken up, this was actually a lot easier to do than this was. This is a lot harder to do. 6 mana, 5 mana sorcery speed. Yeah. Does that make sense? Umbala just says 4 guys for 6 mana was still mana efficient. Yeah. Yeah, it really wasn't that bad, and that's my problem with the catch release, is this would have no business by itself. I can't imagine that we'd be using this card without the brain, ever. But it is an interesting thing to be doing on 3 charge counters. Might be worth testing. Does it make sense though, guys? Seriously. If you count the amount of mana that you're investing to get a similar effect in Modern, you're looking at 6 plus 5. You're looking at 11 mana. Whereas what I just showed you was 4 colorless. 4 colorless mana because you need to charge. You need to play the brain. You need to charge it, and then you need to charge it again. That's 4 mana. If you had to muddle for one of the 2 pieces, yes, you do need to tack on another blue and another colorless mana. So you're paying 7. 7 mana is still way less than this, and we're breaking it up over the course of several turns, which makes it more playable. And it did, and I did day 2 with this interaction. The back call plus brain, I did. I really did. Yeah. You're looking at 5 sorcery speed mana compared to 2 sorcery speed mana. Yeah. Kevin says Electrolyze off of 3 counters would be spicy. We could run more copies of Electrolyze. The Anger of the Gods is also something you can do off Brain. Or the Supreme Verdict I've done. The Cryptic Command off Brain feels good too. Brad says, though I don't think it's fair to count Muddle, what if we're talking about naturally drawing souls and opportunity? Did you though? Bradsu? And then how many opportunities and Lingering Souls do you want to run in Modern? I think Lingering Souls is a reasonable spell to run in Modern, is Opportunity. Brad says, can natural brain birds as easily as souls in opposition? Oh, you're saying don't run any muddles at all, just jam-packed a bunch of Becks in this thing? You could do that, Brad Soup. The problem with that is then you're sometimes stuck with a bunch of Beck calls. That was something else my team and I talked about. Yeah, what you just described, jamming a whole bunch of Beck calls into the deck. You could, Brad. That's not necessarily a terrible idea. I liked the flexibility, though, that the muddles offered. More hard counters for matchups like Scape Shift or Ad Nauseam or the Valakut deck. Various other combos, and then of course you, in a pinch, you can turn it into the sudden, you can turn it into a Snapcaster, you can turn it into either side of the combo, a Logic Knot, post board, you can grab the Wear Tear with it, you can grab a Purge with it, and a Gate with it. So I liked it, it performed very well for that reason. Now I'm just saying you shouldn't count tutors when comparing effects. Muddle's awesome, absolutely run it. Kane says you lose versatility. Are you convinced that 4 brain is correct? How do I feel about running 3? You could run 3. I'm pretty convinced that 4 is correct, though. Because you don't mind them in multiples. So the first deck I was going to take to the GP Gentleman was actually Thopter Sword. So Thopter Foundry, Sword of the Meek. This is actually what I was going to take to the GP originally. And in our testing, very quickly early on, I realized that the... like, honestly, instead of the catch release, I'd love to test the Thopter Foundry engine again with Ancestrals. Because Brain has the really cool interaction with Ancestral, by the way. If you guys didn't know. Will I build Tezzeret Thopter Sword? Probably not, but I would do this. Some number of Ancestrals if we could squeeze them in. Maybe sideboard the Anger, that's 1 Ancestral. This does work on Magic Online. We did test the Ancestral off the Brain, so... It's like saying don't run Glittering Witch. I like Glittering Witch Cane Lance. We actually had a Glittering Witch version of this. Brain, Bant Transfusion. Bant Brain Transfusion. Brad says you're talking about activating Brain and sacrificing a response. Yeah, in this case, but you could bounce it, Brad. Wait, how does that work? Says stream. Yeah, sack or bounce. With the trigger on the stack, you get an Ancestral. I've had Jund players go to Abrupt Decay the Brain when they should, and then you cast the Ancestral. Sure, Capone. Jay, go ahead and link it. I'll mess with it. Yeah, I'd love to. 7-2 yesterday. Looks terrible, kids winning. I mean, I never... Jay. That was a silly thing to say on my stream. I never judge a book by its cover. Ever. Why would you even say that, dude? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, if it's not a toolbox, then just get out of my sight. I'm not even going to look at it if it's not a toolbox, man. Let me see. Oh, hell yeah, Liquid Metal Ancient Grudge. Yeah, I brewed something like this not too long ago. But you have a very different approach to it, which I can appreciate. Yeah, Ancient Grudge. Oh, yeah, Liquid Metal. Liquid Metal coating is really cool. If you guys don't know it, let's zoom in. So this is target permanent becomes an artifact in addition. I would do some different things with it, but I don't mind where you took the deck at all. It looks pretty... Ooh, what was Mirror Landshaper? Nice. Target land becomes an artifact. Very nice. Okay. I mean, for example, this is a deck that has to see the coding for it to work. Well. Although you could just Blood Moon everybody else, I guess. Seems good. That seems